Every year, millions of Muslims across the world wake up before sunrise. Cities become quiet, homes fill with the smell of food. Children wear new clothes, families gather. Takbir echoes through the streets. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illa Allah. And for one single day, the Muslim world becomes united. But Eid al Adha was never just about celebration. It was born from one of the greatest tests ever given to a human being. A test so heavy that most people could never imagine surviving it. An old lantern swinging in the dark. Then mountains around Makkah at night. A father, a son, a dream, and a command from Allah. This is the story behind Eid al Adha. Long before Islam spread across the world, before Makkah became filled with millions of pilgrims, there lived a man named Ibrahim, known today as Prophet Ibrahim, or Abraham. In Islam, he is one of the greatest prophets to ever live. But Ibrahim was born into a society drowning in idol worship. People carved statues with their own hands, then bowed down to them. They prayed to stone. They feared statues. They built their lives around false gods. And among them, Ibrahim stood completely alone. Even as a young man, he questioned everything. How could these statues hear? How could they speak? How could something created by humans become worthy of worship? The Quran tells us Ibrahim searched for the truth. He looked at the stars, the moon. He looked up at the moon, the sun, but each one disappeared, and Ibrahim understood something powerful. The true creator could never disappear. He could never be weak. He could never depend on anything. And so Ibrahim rejected the idols. He worshipped Allah alone. But truth has a price, and the people around him hated what he preached, especially one man, his own father. One day, Ibrahim decided to expose the false gods of his people. When everyone left for a celebration, he entered the temple and destroyed the idols, all except one, the largest statue. When the people returned, they were horrified. Who did this? And Ibrahim answered them with intelligence. Ask the big idol if it can speak. For a moment, they realized the truth. These idols were powerless, but pride is dangerous. Instead of accepting the truth, they chose anger. The rulers ordered Ibrahim to be burned alive. A giant fire was prepared, so massive that nobody could get close to it. The flames climbed high into the sky. The heat became unbearable, and Ibrahim was thrown into the fire. But then Allah commanded the flames, "O fire, be coolness and safety upon Ibrahim." And the fire became harmless. The people watched in shock. The man they tried to destroy walked out alive, protected by Allah. But this was only the beginning, because Ibrahim's greatest test had not arrived yet. Years passed. Ibrahim continued calling people toward Allah. He traveled, he suffered, he sacrificed comfort, safety, and acceptance for his faith. But there was something he deeply wished for: a child. For many years, he had no son, and Ibrahim was already old, very old. Yet Allah answered his dua. He was blessed with a son named Ismail. In Islamic tradition, Ismail would become one of the noble prophets, and Ibrahim loved him deeply. Imagine waiting your entire life for a child. Imagine finally holding your son after decades, watching him grow, hearing his voice, walking beside him through the desert. That bond became one of the strongest things in Ibrahim's life, and that is exactly why the test was so difficult, because Allah often tests people through the things they love most. As Ismail grew older, the bond between father and son became even stronger. Ibrahim was not simply raising a child, he was raising a believer, a young man of patience, faith, and obedience. And then the dream came. One night, Ibrahim saw a terrifying dream. In the dream, he was sacrificing his son. At first, He hoped it meant nothing. But the dream returned, again and again, and Ibrahim understood. This was not an ordinary dream. For prophets, dreams can be revelation from Allah. This was a test, not with wealth, not with enemies, not with pain, but with the person he loved most in this world, his own son. Think about that moment. The confusion, the fear, the heartbreak. Most people would deny it, run from it, pretend it never happened. But Ibrahim was a prophet of complete submission. And the word Islam itself means submission to Allah. Not submission when life is easy, submission when obedience hurts. Then came one of the most emotional conversations in history. The Quran describes it beautifully. Ibrahim said, "O my son, indeed I have seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. So what do you think?" And Ismail answered with words that still move hearts today. "O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, among the patient." Look at the faith in those words. Ismail was not forced. He understood. He trusted Allah. He trusted his father. And together, both of them submitted to the command of Allah. A father willing to sacrifice, a son willing to be sacrificed, not because they lacked love, but because they loved Allah more. That is the heart of Eid al Adha. True faith is not words. It is obedience, even when it breaks your heart. Ibrahim and Ismail began their journey toward Mina, the same land visited today by millions of Muslims during Hajj. A dry desert, silent mountains, endless stone and sand. But this journey was unlike any other, because every step brought them closer to the greatest test of their lives. And according to Islamic tradition, Shaitan tried to stop them. He whispered fear, doubt, regret. He tried to convince Ibrahim to abandon the command of Allah, to turn back, to choose emotion over obedience. But Ibrahim rejected him, again and again and again. And this moment is remembered today in one of the rituals of Hajj, the stoning of Shaitan, a ritual where pilgrims throw small stones at 3 pillars symbolizing Shaitan and his temptations. A reminder that believers must constantly reject evil whispers, reject temptation, reject disobedience, because every believer faces moments like this. Moments where the easier path pulls them away from Allah. Moments where Shaitan whispers, "Do what you want. Follow your desires. Forget obedience." But Ibrahim kept walking, step by step, toward the command of Allah. Imagine the silence between them, a father carrying unbearable pain, a son carrying unimaginable courage, neither of them running away, neither of them questioning Allah. This was not weakness. This was complete trust. And that is why Ibrahim became one of the greatest examples of faith in Islam. Not because life was easy for him, but because he obeyed Allah even when life became difficult beyond imagination. And now, the final moment had arrived. Finally, the moment arrived. The moment that would define history forever. Ibrahim prepared to fulfill the command of Allah. Some Islamic narrations mention that Ismail asked his father to turn his face away so it would be easier for him. Imagine the weight of that moment. A father holding the knife, a son surrendering peacefully, the desert silent, the sky watching. No army, no crowd, no audience, just faith, pure faith. A level of trust in Allah that most people cannot even imagine. And then, just as Ibrahim was about to complete the sacrifice, Allah stopped him. The test was over. Ibrahim had already proven his obedience. Allah never wanted the death of Ismail. He wanted to reveal the strength of their faith, and Allah replaced Ismail with a ram, a great sacrifice sent from the heavens. Mercy descended upon them, relief, tears, gratitude, and at that moment, one of the greatest lessons in human history was born. This is why Muslims perform Qurbani during Eid al Adha. The sacrifice is not about blood, it is not about cruelty, and it is not meaningless tradition. The legacy continues. Subscribe for more powerful stories from Islamic history. It is remembrance, a reminder that everything belongs to Allah, our wealth, our comfort, our desires, even the things we love most. The Quran says, "It is neither their meat nor their blood that reaches Allah, but your piety. Meaning what matters most is sincerity, faith, taqwa. And during Eid al Adha, Muslims around the world sacrifice animals such as sheep, goats, cows, or camels. The meat is shared. One portion for family, one for relatives and friends, and one for the poor. Because Islam connects worship with compassion. No one should go hungry during Eid. That is part of the beauty of the day. Today, the legacy of Ibrahim lives on. Every Eid al Adha, every Hajj, every takbir. But Eid al Adha is not only about remembering Ibrahim, it is also about asking ourselves a difficult question. What are we willing to sacrifice for Allah? Today, the legacy of Ibrahim lives on. Every Eid al Adha, every Hajj, every takbir, every sincere sacrifice done for the sake of Allah. Millions of Muslims travel to Makkah every year, following the footsteps of Ibrahim. The rituals of Hajj are filled with his story. The journey through Mina, the sacrifice, the stoning of Shaitan. Even the story of Hajjah, the mother of Ismail, running between Safa and Marwa searching desperately for water for her son. And Allah answered her struggle with a miracle, the well of Zamzam, a well that still exists today. Think about that. One family, one test, one desert, and thousands of years later, billions still remember them, because sincere faith leaves marks on history forever. But there is something many people misunderstand about Eid al Adha. The real sacrifice was never the ram. The real sacrifice was attachment. Ibrahim proved that Allah came before everything else, even before the thing he loved most in this world. And that raises a difficult question for every believer today. What are we attached to? Money, status, desires, pride, comfort, entertainment, social media? Many people celebrate Eid without understanding its message. Eid al Adha teaches Muslims to sacrifice sins, sacrifice arrogance, sacrifice ego, sacrifice bad habits. Because true obedience is not just ritual, it is transformation. And maybe that is why this story still touches hearts after thousands of years. Eid al Adha teaches Muslims to sacrifice sins, sacrifice arrogance, sacrifice ego, sacrifice bad habits. Because true obedience is not just ritual, it is transformation. And maybe that is why this story still touches hearts after thousands of years. Because deep inside, people understand how difficult real sacrifice truly is. Then finally comes Eid morning. The takbir fills the air. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. People gather for prayer. Rich and poor standing side by side. No status, no superiority. Only servants of Allah. Families reconnect. Food is shared. Charity spreads. And all of it traces back to the obedience of Ibrahim. Families sharing food, a story that began in silence, in the middle of the desert, between a father and his son. Eid al Adha is more than a holiday. It is the story of surrender, the story of trust, the story of a family that chose Allah above everything else. And every year, when Muslims around the world celebrate Eid al Adha, they remember a lesson carried across thousands of years. That true success is not found in wealth or power or comfort, but in sincerity toward Allah. And maybe the real question of Eid al Adha is this: if you were tested like Ibrahim, what would you be willing to sacrifice?